are back, and this is our Christmas edition of Laying Down the Law, and that's This Christmas by Donny Hathaway.
Just a classic, absolute classic.
Yes, and so I would hope that our man, Hall of Famer to be, Drew Pearson, has a little appreciation. I know he's heard this one when...
oh, Drew, that's got to be your Christmas jam now. Come on.
Oh, yeah, you can play that again. I'll hold out. You just play that.
It's smooth.
Give you a prediction at the end, and that'll be the show.
That's a wrap. 88 in the house, no doubt. We want to say Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays to you, Drew Pearson, one of our all-time favoriteest persons and wide receivers of the NFL. We are going to be praying and also doing some research and work to assist you into the Pro Football Hall of Fame in Canton, Ohio. We mean that as a show and as a friend.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And happy holidays to you guys and all your listeners as well.
Thank you very much. Thank you. We know Sunday Night Football is going to be big. The NFC East, 9-4 and 9-4. This is a must-win for the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, without a doubt. You know, this is not only a must-win for the Dallas Cowboys, it's a must-win for the Philadelphia Eagles, too. So,
correct.
You know, you have this type of game coming up. And both teams, you know, when you look at it, going in, both teams are 9-4. I know they beat us pretty good, you know, when they were here Thanksgiving, but our excuse here is that we didn't have much time to prepare for that. They didn't have much time either, but, you know, to prepare for a Chip Kelly offense, I think you needed a little more time than what we showed. So, but when you look at, you know, both teams coming into the game at 9-4, both teams are pretty even. And so it should lead to a good matchup. And hopefully the difference in this one will be the Cowboys will get off to a better start. And in doing that, they'll be able to execute their game plan and not have to be on their heels defensively. So we'll see what happens here. But I think both teams going in, it looks pretty even for both teams. So it could be a good football game tonight.
Well, and Drew, you spoke to preparation. Dallas gets extra preparation because they played on last Thursday night, so they get an extra couple days to prepare for this offense. And the game you talked about on Thanksgiving, easily, I believe, but maybe the first game of the year against the Niners also up there, but the worst game the Cowboys have played this year. So they've got a lot of motivation tonight to kind of come back and redeem themselves. And obviously it's against the Eagles as well, so that's enough motivation right there.
Yeah, absolutely. Division game, you know, and, you know, you look at the rest of the NFC, and you want to win your division. You don't want to put your hands in the hands of other teams, winning or losing the final 2 weeks of the season to see if you're going to make the playoffs, you know, as a wild card team. So this is it. This is the time. They shut us down pretty good offensively. They held Murray to a season-low 73 yards rushing. Jason Witten had one catch for 8 yards. Tony Romo's streak of 38 consecutive games with a passing touchdown ended in that first meeting. So they shut our offense down pretty good. And defensively, because they started so well, they kept us on our heels, and we didn't know whether they're going to run or pass. So therefore, they did both, you know, without any trouble. So hopefully this time going in, we could shut something down. Either their run game with LaShawn McCoy or their passing game and put the game in the hands of Sanchez that he shut down McCoy and Sproles. So,
and that was the game plan Seattle used last week to shut down Philadelphia. They shut down McCoy and kind of forced Sanchez to be the one to beat him, and he couldn't do it. So hopefully the Cowboys can kind of try to make him one-dimensional as well.
Yeah, and, you know, their receivers are good, but they're not great. Riley Cooper's not having a very good season.
Macklin, though. Macklin's been okay.
Yeah, Macklin's there, and he burned us last time, so we got to watch him. You know, that's the thing we got to be concerned about. We shut down the run. How do you shut down the run? You put an extra man in the box there, and when you do that, what do you got, quarterback? You know?
Yeah, you're gonna have an easier time in the secondary, and you know, is that a concern? Is going to be the question. Drew, interestingly enough, the Cowboys are 6-0 on the road this year, which is you know,
they are.
Who would have thought that? You know, 7 would definitely be a magical number for them to get 7-0 on the road, and like Ryan had mentioned, they're 10 days to prepare. as much as you know, and we've had these discussions over the seasons with my former teammate and roommate, Jason Garrett, if you can't put together something in 10 days.
Well, a little extra rest. Tony Romo gets a little extra days to prepare that back, and DeMarco Murray gets a little extra rest because he had a huge workload. But what about the weather tonight, Drew? Do you know what the weather's going to be like in Philadelphia tonight?
I think the high today is going to be like 45, lows in the 30s.
Okay, so not too bad. It's not going to be one of those Philadelphia games.
Any precipitation or anything like that. So, as you just mentioned, they're 6-0 on the road. They've gone into New York and played up there at night on a Sunday night game. They've gone into Chicago and played up there and dealt with that on a Thursday night game in Chicago. So this should be old hat to the Cowboys going into Philly on a Sunday night and playing there and whatever those weather conditions might be. The thing that we got to do, you could talk all this game planning stuff and stop this guy, stop that guy, but here's the deal. They're going to take it to us. They're going to punch us in the mouth like they did in that first game. And they're going to take it to that offensive line. You saw what they did the first time around with that offensive line. They manhandled them. They sacked Romo 4 times. And we had our worst offensive game probably of the season. So they like to try to be physical with you. And if you respond to that, then they know they're in for a football game. But if you don't respond to that, they're going to keep coming with that. Last week was the perfect example. When they played Seattle, they tried to hit Seattle in the mouth. They did, but guess what? Seattle hit them right back. And you had a nice physical football game there that Seattle eventually won. And, they won it with a lot of good defense and physical defense. So hopefully we can do that this game, match their intensity level, match their physical level that they're going to bring. And hopefully down that this offensive line was manhandled in that football game. Sure, they had a chance to redeem themselves since in Chicago, but they have a lot to prove that they want to be recognized as the best offensive line in the league. Then they got something to prove tonight against the Philadelphia Eagles defensive front.
We're talking with Drew Pearson. We're between the eights. And, Drew, you've played a myriad of games against the Skins, the Eagles, the Giants. And,
17-7 against the Eagles. I just happen to know that off
the top of your head. Yes.
That's what I love about you, Drew. I know you hate the Redskins the most. I know that. But the Eagles sound like they might be a close second.
We did to them, too.
Yeah. and Drew and I had an opportunity. We went up and saw our man Joe Fender up in Philly. And the people, yes. And it was crazy because there's some good Cowboys fans in Philadelphia. They kind of got to be stealthy, because Philadelphia folks, man, they boo
Santa Claus. They boo Santa Claus.
They boo Santa Claus. They got a jail and a judge in the stadium. I mean,
cheered when Michael Irvin ended his career on their turf. Yeah, I mean, they're brutal.
Him.
They're brutal.
Yeah, they booed, cheered him, walked by getting off the field.
True. Brotherly love. I ain't feeling no
balls at Jimmy Johnson.
Exactly. Yeah.
Santa Claus out. They make Santa Claus take a day off if the Eagles are playing.
Drew, tell us about one of your most memorable games in Philadelphia.
I've had quite a few, actually.
Okay, it's between the eights with you, man. Go ahead, give us a couple.
But, we lost to them in the championship game in 1980. Actually, it was in 81. Into December of 81. And we had beaten them in the regular season once, and they beat us once. We get in the championship game on January 11th, 1981. And Wilbert Montgomery runs all over us. They beat us 20-7.
So is this Ron Jaworski days?
Yes.
Pardon me?
Is this Ron Jaworski days?
No, this is Jaworski days.
Okay.
Yeah, definitely. And Harold Carmichael, Quick, and those guys.
Yeah.
And it's the same guys we beat on a regular basis, and all of a sudden Dick Vermeil comes in as the new head coach, and he brings a new agenda, and they turn the same guys that were losers into winners. And so anyway, we split with them during the season, lost to them in that championship game, 20-7. And so while that game is going on, looks like we lost. Roy Nell Young, the cornerback. The other cornerback was Herm Edwards, of ESPN's fame.
Yes.
And he's more noted for being an ESPN commentator than he was a defensive back.
We will give him the miracle at the Meadowlands. He did scoop it up. We'll give him that.
He's known for that. But Roy Nell Young, the other corner, he was the rookie. He was all feeling all feisty. He was talking all this noise as the game was winding down and how they whipped us and Drew Pearson kick your butt, all this kind of stuff. So my whole off season was dedicated to Roy Nell Young and getting ready to beat the Philadelphia. Every time I ran a route, lifted a weight, caught a pass, anything I did to condition myself for the upcoming season, next season, was about Roy Nell Young. And I couldn't wait to get back to Philly to play them. We played them in Philly the first game of the next season in November in 81. And Coach Landry, I don't know why, he chose me to go to the press conference. There was just one player to go to the press conference. I don't know why. He must have seen me working out or something. He chose me to go to the press conference. And when they put that mic in front of my face, boy, I let it go. And I said, I've been working all off season. There's one player I want. It's Roy Nell Young. Coach Landry's rolling his eyes over there wondering what the heck's going on. And I labeled the game as the Thriller in Philly. After the Thriller in Manila, which took place that year before.
Yes.
With Ali and Frazier. So anyway, I labeled the Thriller in Philly, and we went up there and we played them. The headlines read, the Thriller in Philly, Pearson's coming to town, all this kind of stuff. The Cowboys are coming to town. Anyway, we went up there and got redemption. It wasn't like winning the NFC Championship game, but we won this game. We went up there and beat them 17-14.
And did you get anything on Young? Did you do anything on Young that day?
Oh, yeah. I talked to him. I talked to him the whole game. I didn't score any touchdowns.
Okay.
Philly was not my game as far as to have the big game, unless we were losing in the final minutes. Yeah. It wasn't that the game plan never went my way because of the defenses they played. But I had my physical battle with him, and we had it out throughout the football game, and I definitely got my satisfaction as we walked off the field with a 17-14 victory.
There it is. Well,
the Thriller in Philly.
Drew, that's a great. I hadn't heard that one. That is a great story.
Yeah, well, it also tells me, though, Drew Pearson, I must say, that 88s do some talking. I mean, it's very consistent.
Oh, absolutely. Oh, man, my players couldn't believe I was the same guy on the field because when I hit that field, I turned into a different person. And, Blake, you play NFL football, you got to take it to another level emotionally. And, excuse me. And sometimes in doing that, you're out of character, which you normally are away from the game. And when I hit that field, I was a little feisty. I talked a lot and that type of stuff. So I always got engaged in conversations with the fellow defensive backs I was playing against.
We're talking with Drew Pearson. We're between the eights. Drew, and I appreciate you making that point because I think a lot of listeners think that some of the players they see on a weekly basis are the same guys on the field as off, and you've given us a very good perspective that, listen, that's your job. That's your career. Yeah. That's your occupation. You're playing for high stakes amongst some of the elite on the planet. And what you need to do to prepare and produce at your place of business and what you need to do to beat some of the finest athletes that are competing against you is not necessarily by any stretch of the imagination the same person who has done so much off the field as you have. And I don't want people to get lost in the fact that the Des Bryant they see or the Michael Irvin they see or the Drew Pearson they see, these 88s, that 88 means something. And what you're on the job and you're on point. You're not the same person that was talking to Roy Nell Young when you do the events and the charity events that you do throughout your life in other venues. So I just appreciate you mentioning that because it takes a certain you're running at 20 miles an hour, guys from 300 pounds to down to 165 pounds that are all world class. And if you don't do the right things, you get taken out of that game. And so the mentality is very different on the field and off. And maybe there's some guys that are the same, some defensive guys, of course, Drew. But for the most part, you can separate what you see on the field with the persons and so many charity events and things that the players do. And we just wanted to get I wanted to get that across. So what's your plans for the holidays? Well,
just going to be around family and stuff like that. My a lot of my grandkids, most of them are in sports, playing basketball. So I just go to the games and hang out and just enjoy the holiday, just the time. I just want this holiday to be a Cowboy playoff holiday.
There you go.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That's what I want. I'll enjoy it a lot better if I get a playoff check finally.
Exactly. Well, Drew, we're going to take next week off. However, I'm going to head up to AT&T and go see the Cowboys Colts. We'll be back on the 28th to close out 2014, and yes, we'd like to have some playoff tickets, and maybe Jerry Jones wasn't so crazy mailing out the playoff tickets at the beginning of the season. If you have an expectation of the playoffs, maybe you meet or exceed those expectations, so put them out there.
Amen. I'm expecting them to make the playoffs. We're over that 8-8 hump. We're rolling. I'm hearing the players talk. They sound like they're pretty focused. I don't see a lot of players running around. Sure, they're doing a lot of stuff. You mentioned that what the players do off the field. That's part of being a professional, how to turn it on and turn it off from the field to off the field and what you do. And the players have really been doing a lot in the community, supporting Christmas charities, children's hospitals, and all that kind of stuff. But at the same time, they're remaining focused. And I hear good things coming out of Cowboy camp. So I'm excited about what's happening right now, and I think the Cowboys will win this game tonight, 35-31.
High scoring
35-31 says Drew
Pearson and Phila number 2.
The Thrilla and Phila number 2. And Drew, you have a new Twitter handle. What is that?
Yeah, it's at 88 Drew Pearson. So follow me through that and check me out throughout the game. I might be posting some comments throughout the football game tonight.
That'd be awesome. We are absent Jeff Blake. Jeff went up to see Emory up in St. Louis. They had the Thursday night.
Oh, that
game.
wasn't Jeff?
That's our man, the athletic attorney Ryan Willett.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
so Ryan's back.
Like Jeff, my bad.
No
worries, Drew. No worries.
I'm giving you that props, man. Sounds just like a quarterback.
Hey, appreciate you.
Well, Drew. Ryan does a lot of coaching of high school and youth basketball, so
I can tell.
He knows how to run the offense and the point pretty well. And we just want to say Merry Christmas to you and your family, and hopefully you get everything that you want from Santa, including the Cowboys win. I've got it at top of my list. I believe Jason and the rest of everybody from the players, coaches, and organization are doing well this year, and like to see them continue on.
Amen. Let's go Cowboys, 35-31.
Appreciate you, Drew. Merry Christmas, and we'll catch you after on the 28th, and hopefully maybe we'll see you in the stadium or around the stadium on the 21st against the Indianapolis Colts.
All right, you got it, guys. Merry Christmas to you all.
All right, thank you. All right. We're going to take a sidebar. We're going to come back. We're going to talk AFC Texas in the NFL with the Houston Texans. We're going to have Marcus Coleman, former NFL All-Pro safety, with the Houston Texans when we come back right here on Laying Down the Law.